Hello, Facebook and any other channel I'm posting this on. I'm Sarah Jennings. Some of you might not know me. Some of you might have known me for a long time. And I thought I'd just jump on because I felt like it. And I actually feel like I want to come on and do a live before I even know what I'm going to talk about. So it's taken me a bit of time to be like, what is it I'm going to talk about today? And what I'd like to talk about is, what is kinesiology? Because I don't think a lot of people really know, and they hear the word, they're like, no idea what it is. Some people might think it has to do with muscles, which is, it's true, it has got something to do with muscles. And I think it, originated with testing muscles for people that are like athletes and sports people, trying to help an injured footballer, like what muscles aren't working. You can test like different strengths of different muscles in the body for a trauma response, or for a tightening, or a fear response, or if they've gone all floppy and collapsed. And so you can really check in on the physical body and to help healing. But kinesiology has developed massively over time into something far more robust and in-depth as a tool for testing reality and like who you are and what you are, and sorry, the sun is like shining right at me, so the lights keep changing. Let me just see if I can help that. A bit better. Yeah, so kinesiology is the art of muscle testing, and the kinesiology I trained in with the Creative Kinesiology School is very much really wide, multi-dimensional, magical view of the human. So we're not just testing the body and allergies. I think some people know muscle testing as, hold on to this vitamin, like, is this good for me? And then see the response of the body. Or maybe like food allergy testing, that is also a thing. You hold on to the milk or the bread and check the muscle response. So for example, let me find something. Don't have anything. I don't want to like do product placement, but basically holding on to a substance. Let's just say this is like some selenium vitamins or something, or like milk. I'm holding on to a bit of milk, and you'd put your arm out and the practitioner would test. So like, I'm going to think about milk, cow milk. So my body switches off because I don't drink cow milk, and I know my body doesn't like cow milk. And actually my grandmother never could drink it either, neither can my uncle. So, potentially there's a reason why I don't drink milk that goes beyond not liking milk. And you can do the same with vitamins. And people, muscle testing has developed over time to become far more, depending on the school you trained in, far more than just testing for a yes or no for food or vitamins or sports injuries. And the way I've been trained in it over time, I really appreciate, because it really did take into account. Okay, I'm going to rewind as I do. Sorry, bear with me. The reason why I trained in kinesiology is because I was doing this really, really incredible, powerful, transformational, multidimensional energy work called aura transformation for years. But I was struggling to I was working in different yoga studios doing my one-to-one stuff, and there was like, for insurance purposes, they wanted to have some certificates that were backed up at the time. This is like 8 years ago. So I was like, okay, I need to train in something quick that will just give me a certificate so I can go and do this insurance stuff, so I can work in these places, in these yoga studios and different medical alternative medicine practices. So I trained, I followed the rabbit, the little trail, the crumb trail, and I was going to say rabbit hole, not the rabbit hole, but I followed the crumbs and came to hear about creative kinesiology quite soon after, saying, I think kinesiology would be good, because kinesiology is asking the body's wisdom, so it won't clash with my aura transformation work. It's all about the body. Aura transformation is very much about the being in your body. So when I trained in it, I was like, this is incredible, and I absolutely love it. And it was such a it was so empowering in my own self-development, but also in what I could do with it, because it gives you such a degree of freedom. So the way I look at someone that I work with is that you are 360-degree universe in yourself. Each person that comes to a session or an aura transformation, kinesiology, group work, whatever it is a universe. They have their own unique fingerprint on the universe, in the universe. They have their own expression, their own frequencies, their own they are unique to themselves. They have different planetary influences, different spiritual, ancestral, genetic influences. They have different past life influences. They have, we've all maybe got a shared human history, but each individual has its own flavors in that. So kinesiology means that you can really muscle test that person's universe. You're not putting on an idea of what their universe looks like, or what, if someone comes to, goes to a practitioner and is like, okay, well, this is a problem at the moment. I'm struggling with this, and this is hurting me at the moment. And then that person goes, oh, well, I think that it's this, that is the practitioner innocently, or with maybe great training, is imposing a view of what that person is experiencing. And it's the same thing with psychics. And there's amazing psychic people out there. It's incredible. But it becomes problematic when, well, I believe it is problematic, and I've had to help so many people that have been given weird, ungrounded, potentially untrue advice from psychic clairvoyant types, where there is an imposition of meaning, and this is what your life looks like. This is why that's happening. You were this in a past life. That's imposing. Someone is imposing a truth onto you that might not be yours. So it's not even your truth, it's theirs, or like some fantasy. So I feel very deeply into the integrity in the healing arts is really allowing that person who is a universe into themselves to create their own meaning, to heal at their own pace, that their body is able to release what it's ready to release in its own way, and for meaning to be created by the person. Yes, a kinesiology session is co-created between a practitioner and the client, and it's so beautiful to work with people over time. And I've not done much one-to-one stuff in the last year for many reasons, and a lot of it is that I'm doing a lot of group work and use kinesiology for that. But working alongside clients that you love, it is a very intimate process of loving that person. And, I think it's as close you can get to some sort of unconditional relationship in those moments, in those spaces, because you're allowing someone to be messy, to be upset, to acknowledge that they're not happy where they are, that it's difficult, that acknowledging that or help them acknowledge that what they've been through is epic, and it is maybe been terribly unfair and abusive and not okay. And that helps someone get to the depths of what's really going on underneath. And then that starts the opening up of whatever's the next phase in their life. So kinesiology is the art of muscle. So I know I've gone around about it, it'll make sense of it. Kinesiology is the art of muscle testing someone. And when you're in a room, let's just pretend I'm in the room with you, I would be muscle testing your arm to know yes or no. And, the first, we trained for months to be able to do that properly, and not just willy-nilly. You don't just, I don't even muscle test myself, because if I'm walking around like not grounded or something and busy, and then I'm muscle testing, like, should I do this or that? I could be muscle testing my fears, my unconscious programming, like someone else's thoughts, I'm like muscle testing my adrenaline, rather than really getting into a grounded, really solid, centered space with a safe container, where you're muscle testing with the intention of the highest intent and for that person, like from your spirit basically, and your whole life's picture, and from the deepest body wisdom that you have. That's the container of the space we hold. So we don't just muscle test randomly. So when people text me like, can you muscle test, I'm like, no, I won't, because I want to make sure that we muscle test you when you're grounded in your body, centered as much as possible at the beginning of a session, so that the muscle test is accurate to the deepest wisdom that we need to find for the next steps. And the art of muscle testing, a yes and a no, means that we can get a yes and a no, which means that we can check, okay, so there's this barrier, there's this thing. Let me think of something. Like, oh God, I'm trying not to use a real example. Oh, it's a shame. I can't think of anything like right now. Well, you know, like money goals, for example. It's safe to sell, or it's safe for me to be visible with my work. It's okay for me to be visible and in a healthy relationship. It's safe for me to be successful and a good parent. You know, like all these if ands, you know, we can test, like that's the goal. I'd like to be visible, or I'd like to have more money, or whatever it is. And then we test the body. So you say the statement out loud, and then we test, and the body's like, no, it's not safe. It's not okay, you know, to do that. And then we can ask the body, what system is that held? Why is it not safe? We want to find out why it's not safe. You could spend hours, months, years talking through your past, your history, around and around, to try and figure out why all these things are happening to you, why your body isn't doing what you want it to do, why you feel terrified by things that you shouldn't be terrified by. You could spend a long time trying to figure all that out. With kinesiology, you get to go to the bullseye, exactly when it started, why it started, you know, all that kind of thing, straight to the bullseye of the cause or the initial impact of something. And because we're seeing you as not just you in this moment, but all your ancestors, all of your past lives, all of human history, culture, collective consciousness, planetary influences. Human history is fraught with ups and downs. All of that is kind of recorded in our being, and we can muscle test. Okay, so maybe this isn't your fault. This isn't something that happened to you as a kid. This is actually the persecution of women or magical people 400 years ago, and that's still sitting in your cells. You're terrified of being visible because of that. That's just an example. But every single person has a different story, and they've picked up different things, and traumas have been passed down in their family line in a different way. So I have no idea where we go in any one-to-one session or in any of my group sessions. I have no idea. It could go anywhere. And we have diagnostics. Okay, I'll go through a mock session with you, if you like a very quick, you know, this is how it happens. So kinesiology is very goal orientated. Oh, we want this muscle to switch on. Oh, we want to be visible, or we want to bring, you know, be confident in being on camera or selling or something. And so that's the goal. It takes a while to get to the goal, because maybe we have to listen to all the things that aren't working to then find out what we want to do, where we want to go. So in a way, at the beginning of the session, you acknowledge where you are, which might be terrible and feeling terrible and awful and like, what's going on? And then we start trying to find out where you want to go. And the kinesiology session and all the things I'm going to describe to you are going to take us how we're going to get to there, and not take 20 years doing it. So once we found out what the goal is, we ask the body, is it safe to be visible? No. So we know we're on the right track, because we found the thing that's switching the body off, you know, the muscles switch off. And then we go through the diagnostics, so we can check what system is being impacted. Where is this thing sitting? And we check so many things. And as a practitioner, that you start exploring and, you know, work with lots of people, and you're learning all the time, is that you can add protocols, you can add places, dimensions to test. But we're checking like the endocrine system, the nervous system, the collective nervous system, ancestral imprintings, past life consciousness, spiritual past lives. We're looking at the capacity to heal. We're looking at your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, energetic, magical realms. Like, where is it in any of those? Is it a physical thing that's actually happening? You know, like your muscle not working, is that actually a physical thing? Oh no, it's actually a mental, it's a thought. You've got a belief that is running around making something not work right. So we can check and really get accurate on where something is playing out and what does it mean. And sometimes in a session, there's maybe 4 or 5 different threads of stuff happening. So we have to methodically go through, okay, so that the belief that's stuck, let's work on that. Let's either release it and, you know, working with trauma and imprinting and generational trauma, you know, you need to tread carefully. And when you're a good practitioner, you learn very quickly, like, okay, that isn't safe to go there right now. And that's fair enough. We're not going to go like steamroll over your safety and feeling safe in the world and the way you've coped the whole of your life. We're not just going to go, okay, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to create enough solidity and grounding and love in your body so that that replaces the safety, security mechanisms you've used to survive. We don't rip them away. We start replacing it with a different sense of self and strength and nourishment and grounding so that they become obsolete over time, basically. Or they somehow always are there a little bit because it's your personality, it's your story, but they're not ruling you or running the show. I mean, it's, I was a bit ambitious thinking I could do this in 20 minutes, but when we check the diagnostics, so we go through, then you know, okay, well, we've got a picture. We have a picture of what is happening here. You know, there's several threads to why you're not able to do X, Y, Z, or why it's just not working for you. And then we can start looking for what would help move through this. And I mean, the school I've been trained in, plus all my other training with aura transformation and all my own interests and research I've done over time, and thousands and thousands of hours of one-to-one with incredible people, you start seeing patterns and adding to the techniques and tools that you can use to overcome these patterns. And then what I've got, my people always wonder what I'm doing, like over here when you're online, but I basically have hundreds of resources literally at my fingertips. Like I've got stuff here, and here, and down there, and some over there. And so if you were in person and we're looking for a solution or the story, the intelligence and wisdom of our bodies, our spirits, of time, of earth, of how it all works, the mystery and magic of how it all works. Every time we muscle test in this safe container for a meaning or a reason or a way through, it's so accurate. It'll be like, go to page, you know, that box over there, open that, go to page 55 of the 5th book, line 5, and you read it and it's like, oh, spot on, just exactly what you needed to hear, an explanation of the way through. You know, picking up on the nuances. And this is all sounding so mechanical, but then what's really happening is that the thing that has been holding you back starts to rise and becomes like visible or tangible in the space. Like you might start feeling foggy and tired and like, oh God, this thing, because it's kept you feeling foggy and tired for so long. And your body's finally ready to kind of bring it to the space, and we can work with it to help it move on, move through, alchemize, transmute. And so this is all about the magic of a kinesiology session. Is it helps you get to the bullseye of what is most needed to be loved, transmuted, processed, held, so that we can do that. So it's not just about pointing at it and going, found the bullseye, okay, carry on. It's like, no, we're going to find the bullseye and we're going to work with that, what has been stuck or sick or hurting for so long, or fragmented off, or whatever it is, and we're going to bring it to a new state So that's why people like myself are always talking about things like alchemy and transmutation. It's changing the state of something. And I think that that's what I hear. The people that, so many people that are on a healing journey, they often do a lot of excavating and finding the things that have held you back. You know, you maybe heard more about your childhood, or you've looked into your ancestry and heard all the stories, or you acknowledge that you had all these horrible experiences as a child, and then you sit there and wear the t-shirt. And the way I work is that we don't have to wear that t-shirt anymore. And there are ways and tools that really come from within you. And I'm just holding space for you to find that courage and that strength to transmute and alchemize and turn the pages to a new chapter on your story. You don't have to carry the burdens of all your ancestors in the way that they did. You can start writing a new chapter, and it doesn't mean dishonoring them. It means helping that part of your genetic line bloom into a new permutation, rather than being stuck like in a gnarly way with pain of some kind. It's like, how can we all of you and your ancestors move into a blossoming or a shining or a releasing? And I think that, you know, at the basis of all of healing work or transformation, whatever, and my belief really is that we can live a lot simpler, like a simple state of being, where we're not worrying and beating ourselves up and not good enough and turmoil and blah, and that there is an innocence that we can get to in just expressing yourself in the way that you like, in just doing the things that you love doing, in connecting with the people that you want to connect in the way you want to connect with people, in being yourself and expressing your unique sense of self in the world. But because we've been so fragmented and damaged and hurt and put in loads of little boxes that we don't fit in, most of us don't fit in the boxes, we just don't feel like good enough or up to it, or, you know, there's a thwarted sense of self. There is internalized voices of oppression. There is a fear of expressing yourself, and for good reason. But we, I suppose, have a responsibility or a naive hope that by being more full-hearted in acknowledging where we've been and moving into where we want to be, or where we'd like to see humanity go, it starts here. And that's what we're all doing. And I think I love working with practitioners, particularly because I am one and I've gone through all sorts of initiations and training, and I train practitioners. And that's why I love doing kinesiology with practitioners, and most of my courses are geared towards practitioners, is because I know that this role, you know, of being in this seat doing this kind of work. But that isn't the only people I work with. Where was I going? Oh, well, basically, just to conclude that little bit, is that as a practitioner, it's absolutely important to have mentorship, to be held accountable. You know, we all have childhood wounding. We are all totally messed up from being a human at this point in time, with the human history behind us. It is pretty messed up. And having people, mentorship isn't like someone's better than you. It's like being seen and held and understood, and an acknowledgement of the challenges that it takes to be a practitioner, to sit and listen to people's stuff and hold people through their stuff every day, all day, for a lifetime and many lifetimes potentially. It's a big deal, and it's overlooked massively. It's not honored in our society, so we have to start doing that. But having someone as a practitioner that you work with over time, over years, is invaluable. And I have my own, and I've been working with several people for most of my career as a practitioner. And it's an incredible thing to have someone that knows you deeply, that sees you. And, you know, we all have that childhood wounding and personalities that have developed, and ways of seeking validation or being seen and heard that can fall into martyrdom, narcissism, neediness, you know, whatever we all have those. And in a way, having a mentor or someone that works alongside you as you grow into your practitioner journey is that you learn how to sense what's happening in your system, because we're fluid. We're not just fixed, like, oh, I'm balanced now and that's me done. I've done my work. No, we're constantly like growing and moving, and we're fluid. So yeah, I think it's very important to have a practitioner that helps you be a practitioner. So back to the kinesiology. I have all these tools from ancient to modern healing. From, we use the Chinese medicine and all the muscles. So it's called Touch for Health. Some people might know that from kinesiology, but it maps like all the 5 elements, the meridians, all the muscles that go with it. It's a huge book of points and techniques. I can just show you. It's like loads and loads of pages. It's a fat book about all of that physical energetic side to the body. So we really rely on a deep foundation in, well, Chinese medicine is one of them, but also the function of the human body in anatomy and physiology, in trauma and posture and physicality. So when you shift something energetically, when you shift your consciousness and your thinking and your mindset and your consciousness and your spirituality, you change something in the way you emanate here, but you don't let the body embody that. So you go on a fantastical weekend and you're like, oh my God, I feel so bright and big and I've learned so much stuff. And then a week later, you're like, oh, I'm back to where I was before. It's because the body didn't align and really get to the depths of what was held in the body. That was keeping you from shining in the first place. So it's almost like you get a taste of the fireworks, but it didn't quite land and grow into who you really are. So we have a deep foundation in the physical body. So if you can change, so in a kinesiology session, we're likely to rub points or something, like the lung points are here, for example, or we work with the central meridian here. So we might grab this thing that's like, okay, there's this deep ancestral fear of losing all your money because ancestors years ago, generations ago, lost all their money for some reason. And the kinesiology session almost goes like, okay, we're going to align that, and it's linked to the lung grief. So we're going to work with the lung meridian to help alchemize that whole thing. And we might go very quiet for a while. So we're almost communing and interacting with the ancestors that were stuck in that, and that we're still feeling, and we're letting the body release that. So we're changing the energy, the consciousness, the story, the chapter, and the physical body is letting go of it. You kind of need all of those layers for something to really shift and change. That's why I love kinesiology. We also have in here, I probably have 100 different modalities. Like I've got pamphlets, I've got books, I've got cards, I've got folders of courses, the folders that, I've gone on a course and I've got folders, and the muscle testing might tell me to go to page 38. And then we're going to do this, craniosacral thing or tapping thing or belief changing thing or spiritual bloodline, ancestral meridian healing thing, or we're going to do computer checks, your biomechanical autonomic nervous system checks. It's just can get very technical. We go right into the mitochondria of the cell or into the brain hemispheres, or basically anything. And if you have all the things that you've trained in, we can also muscle test into that. Maybe it's something that we can use. So here I basically have an alchemist's lab of the healing arts. I have so much here that your body wisdom can tap into, and we use to find the way through to you getting to the goals that you have. So I'm at a crossroads of should I keep going? Because I've got plenty more I could say. Let me think. So people often ask, how do you do this online? Because I used to do it all in person. And I was traveling the world with Aura Transformation, which is all in person. And people that I'd worked with abroad were like, I really want to work with you still. So before the pandemic even happened, I'd started doing kinesiology online. Some people might use a dowser, but I just muscle test with my own hand. So at the beginning of the session, I basically we create this safe space. There's a really beautiful held container that holds every kinesiology session, really, that kind of automatically is there, like it's just like a beautiful space that is ready for you to let go of whatever you need to let go. And I just make sure that I'm muscle testing for that person's stuff, not mine. And one of my skills is that my whole body sort of takes on, I can feel everything in your space, as well as if I was working with a group of people. I just feel everything in my body. I don't know how it works exactly or why, but it's very useful and it's very accurate. And so I've been working with people doing kinesiology online for a very long time. So it's exactly the same, except you're rubbing the points rather than me rubbing the points. And I've had people say that they actually really appreciate the online instead of in person, because I have a big, strong energy, and it kind of makes them rest on their laurels more when I'm in the room, because I'm kind of doing it to them, is what it feels like, rather than when we are in separate spaces. I've sensed that it's really empowering for the person receiving, because they actually, sorry, I delete the word receiving because it's confusing what I'm trying to say. The person's having a kinesiology session, when they're in their own space, so you're in your own space, and I'm muscle testing and saying, well, does this mean something to you? Does this sentence make sense? What does it bring up for you? Oh my gosh, yeah, that links to that. That makes sense. That, oh wow, okay, so do we need to go back to an age, or what is this thing? We build a picture, and then it's like, okay, we need to rub those points, or we need to visualize this, or work on whatever it is that we're doing. We're really working with the architecture of your being, and we're realigning things, or undistorting things, or bringing some more of your energy in, or more of your gifts and powers in, or whatever it is, to get you more aligned and more in your body and more nourished and more loved. And you're doing that. You can maybe feel my presence because I'm in front of you, but you're in your space and you're using your power and your energy to shift things rather than me doing it to you. So there's an empowering element to doing it online that I really actually enjoy. I actually really like the online working. I know lots of people are going back to their in-person stuff, and I will do in-person stuff, but I actually really like the online thing, for lots of reasons, and including doing, well, the fact I can work with people all over the world. And so that's one-to-one like this. But then people say, well, how can you do this for groups of people? And how that works is exactly the same, is that we set up this space. I get everyone we do kind of like dropping in exercise, really getting grounded and into a magical space together, just honoring that, all bringing, like landing from your day. And we're in a metaphorical circle in this group setting. That's why all my courses, I kind of max it to 15 is kind of my max at the moment. And I'm sure that might grow over time, but it's because there's a lot of energy. When you're in a kinesiology session, you're sort of acknowledging that each person is a universe in themselves, and that what we're going to do might be getting to the bullseye and the depths of some of the really most like difficult human experiences together. So I want to be able to hold that, and I trust myself that I can really hold that space. So 15 is a good number for me at the moment. And so people love the group sessions. I think from what I've heard, people love it. Most people don't miss a beat. They're on time, and everyone shows up pretty much through all courses that I've run in this way. And we're in this metaphorical circle, and we're not merging energies or anything weird like that. What we're doing is each person is in their own energy, in their own Zoom space. And in the center of the circle, in the room, is a kind of, it's like the common themes and threads start to emerge in the center of the space. And that's what I'm muscle testing. And sometimes individually bits come up, but it's very impressive how there is a group wisdom. Whoever shows up for each group, there's a wisdom that we're all holding for each other in that grouping. So each course that I've ever run, there might be some videos to watch. There might be some group coaching where one by one you get to talk. you know, 50 minutes each, 10 minutes each or whatever into your thing. And, you know, I'm laser beam into your thing and throw out all the creative ideas I can for you together. That's that. But then the kinesiology part is a really magical, sacred, deep healing space. And, you know, it underpins all my courses: Visibility Gateway, Money Gateway, Love Again, the Heart Retrieval Mapping Consciousness Journey. And I should shorten it, but literally is mapping consciousness in a new way. And Transmute Distortion. And there's going to be a new one coming that is linked to heart retrieval called, should I say it? Maybe I won't say it yet. It'll come out soon. So I've said a lot. There's lots more to say. But yeah, in the group setting, what we're doing is exactly what I've said a session looks like. We find like where we're at, what's the goals, the common goals, what's in the way of that, what's the story, what's holding us back. And I mean, when you have 15 universes in the room, there's a lot to call on and to understand and to feel into. And then we find the healing. And then it is really down to the individual to use their own resources and their own inner power and courage to go, I am alchemizing this thing. Not Sarah Jennings is going to alchemize this thing for me. It's like, okay, we've pinpointed it and now we're going to work together. You know, like use the force of the group, but it's your force for your own alchemy that is going to change the story and the perception and the edges. And, you know, your energy field, your mind, your heart is your interface with the world. And if that is interfacing with blinkers on, like, oh, this is the only opportunities I have, or with loads of sort of projections and false ideas or cultural, this is what culture wants me to see, this is the fantasy I was holding. You're not seeing the world for as it is. You're not seeing yourself as you are. So how can we peel back these layers and layers and layers from what keeps us in our innocence, fun, free inner child, expressed, nourished, loving, focused, living being that enjoys the richness of life, and everything is pitted against us, certainly at the moment and in the last few years. So in conclusion, because I just think it's best, I've been here for a while now, gosh, is I have several ways of doing I don't want to do thousands of one-to-ones, so I reserve it to doing only a few one-to-ones, and Genius Squared is my contribution to supporting people that are in the healing arts and trying to build containers or holding schools or running, you know, memberships or building programs or running academies or building a retreat center. Genius Squared is minimum 6 months, and it's basically you have your own kinesiologist, and maybe there's a team of you, maybe there's 3, 4, 5 of you that are running this thing together, and I would do group sessions with you for your program, for your thing, and then you could split the cost between you, for example. Or if you're an individual and you really want expert kinesiologist to be working alongside you to really see, like, you know, is the container that you're building safe? Is it got the right entry and exit points? Are you bringing in the right people? Is it visible to the right people? Is do they finish right? How do they leave? What are the outcomes? It's like, are you charging appropriately? All things to run a healing arts business, plus being in alignment and in integrity with the lineages that you come from the ancient lineages that you're maybe holding or teaching. You know, are you in congruence with that? Are you overstepping the line? Are you learning at the right, you know, are you learning what you need to know to do that properly? Are you in alignment with all the energies that could support you? Can be really high level, multi-dimensional, incredible stuff that we can do. But I also am opening to, you know, I'm happy to have a couple of people wanting to do some one-to-one work with me and are ready to go deep. And next week, I actually have 3 spots of 2 hours to work with people if you're interested. Monday to Wednesday, I'm happy to do one a day or a couple a day. And so there's that. If you want to know more, let me know and I'll send you some information. And in terms of all my courses have a foundation in kinesiology. So it's magical and deep and interesting and not just watching a video and hoping something will seep in, or for you to do it all by yourself. So it's different and it's fun, and I love it. So the next course I'll be running is Love Again, the Heart Retrieval Mapping Consciousness Journey. And I think it'll be mid-August, end of August, around that time that I start it. But if people are interested, let me know ASAP, because I could always run it earlier if that fits in with everyone. And there's going to be a workshop that I'm going to put out before that, because it's going to become part of the Love Again Heart Retrieval program. So it's going to be like a intro, if you like, and I'm very excited about that coming out, so I'll let you know. Yeah, so let me know, and I hope you enjoyed my long 40-minute rant on kinesiology. Lots of love, everyone. Hope you have a nice day.